16 de septiembre. Happy 16th of September. This is Mexican independence, when they won independence from Spain. It just happened to coincide with Daniel's visit. I have a couple of little announcements before we get started. Number one, please turn off your cell phones. Number two, we're going to have a reception after this. We're going to have some bocadillos. So we're going to have some appetizers and some drinks. So please join us. You'll be able to meet Daniel and talk to him on a personal level. And number three is we're selling some of the CDs Mestizo out here. They're $20 a piece. Please have exact change, or if you have a check, you can make it out to Daniel Valdez. Okay? I'll give you a little bit of background on him, so let's get started. Regis University's Department of Fine and Performing Arts is proud to host the 2015 Inspired Thinker, Playwright, Actor, and Musician Daniel Valdez. In January of 1966, at the age of 17, Daniel Valdez joined his brother, Luis Valdez, to fight for the unjust treatment of farm workers, and joined Cesar Chavez and the United Farm Workers Union. Daniel was one of the founding members of the Teatro Campesino, and while on the picket lines, Valdez learned to do theater and incorporate his music to bring the message of the United Farm Workers Union to farm workers. 1973 marked the recording of the first Chicano album by a major label, A&M Records. Mestizo was Valdez's first solo album, and it propelled him into the world of concert performer. Daniel has been seen in many film productions, including the Chicano classic Zoot Suit, for which he wrote the original music, arranged all of the classic 1940s big band music, and was the central actor. Daniel has been seen in film productions. In 1987, Daniel realized a 13-year dream when the life star Richie Valens was brought to the silver screen in the movie La Bamba, which he and his brother wrote and produced. Daniel has been seen in other major feature films such as Which Way Is Up, starring Richard Pryor, and The China Syndrome with Jane Fonda, Jack Lemmon, and Michael Douglas. He has also appeared in Cheech Marin's Born in East LA. Mr. Valdez has also performed with many well-known musicians. He was a romantic lead opposite Linda Ronstadt in her stage production of Canciones de mi Padre. He has also worked and performed with other musician artists such as Carlos Santana, Jerry Garcia, Ruben Blades, Celia Cruz, and Vito Puente in the critically acclaimed Cinemax Special Latin Sessions. Along with Valdez's list of stage, film, and musical credits, he has always worked with the community organizations and schools as a positive role model for Hispanic youth, with special guest lectures, performances, workshops, and benefits for these organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a warm applause for Daniel Valdez.
Well, happy 16th of September. Yes. We're getting the picture from somewhere. Before I start, I'd like to dedicate the show tonight to my late great wife. She just passed. She's the one who actually organized this performance, and we were both planning to come here and spend some time here. But it's for her I do this show. How can we begin to express what America means to the Chicano? We are Indios, Mestizos, Hispanos, Mexicanos. The names have all been changed across the centuries, but they all mean the same thing. We have been Americanos longer than America has existed. For the ancient Indio, America offers a legacy that rivals the culture of the Egyptian. It is a legacy etched in stone. Skeletal remains of a gentle, fierce, and scientific people. America. I remember you, America, from our first bloody sweat, which the dirt and the leaves, round and shiny in the dim lights of our palace, with Indio eyes and European skulls and black hair, a flame of microcosmic life, vida, hope, esperanza. And donde está el indio de ayer? En esta América, en esta tierra vivió. ¿Dónde está el indio de ayer? Que jamás ya volvimos a ver. We were the blood of two worlds brought together in the rape of Mexico, Chile, Peru. And on top, the memory of Galicia, Andalusia, Castilla, and below, the fear of gods. We should have watched me while libre esta boca. Between the memory and fear, we came forth alive with our tongues crying out. For we were a sword, Donatillo, spiked with infinitesimal radiance, and sword contained is in the ancient pistol, the human heart. Beating, proceeding, receiving, el puñal sagrado de la vida. And the earth, la tierra, was ours. The voice cried out amongst the bushes and the leaves, like a deadly ocelot, pounding its clawed paws on the grass and smoke ground, swinging right, and then left, and then pausing, and then rushing forth with powerful flags to leap upon his victim. Mestizo! We had been named a happy raza by our padres, and they with our madres had very much half with half, to bear in us a race of whole human beings. America, America, yo me acuerdo de ti. So who are we? Where do we come from? Where do our families come from? That's what it's all about, our identity and who we are. In 1965, a strike broke out in California, where farm workers for the first time stood up to fight for their rights. A man whose name was Cesar Chavez left an imprint in America that changed the face of the country. It was a time when labor was a very important thing, but no one ever really paid any attention to the farmer. At the age of 17, I went to Delano, actually to go visit my brother, and I never left. It kept me there. I walked into the Filipino Hall with 2,000 farm workers in there, and I couldn't believe how many people were in there. You know, kids, dogs, everybody. You know, they were all on strike. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. And the energy in that place was incredible. We walked in, I ran into something that I will never forget. The heart and soul of our people. Trabajadores campesinos, a luchar con valor y con tesón, sin dar pasos para atrás todos unidos, a luchar en contra del patrón. Nuestra unión está nuestra victoria, el final de una vil explotación. Para nadie han más sueldos de miseria y jamás van los tratos del patrón. Viva la causa por cual luchamos, viva la huelga en el fin. Viva la Virgen de Guadalupe, viva nuestra unión. A temblar patroncitos barateros, contratista, el cruel explotador, mayordomos y todos sus lacayos, y al campesino tiene protección. Campesinos mexicanos, americanos de color, Puerto Ricos y filipinos, todos son de igual valor. Viva la causa por cual luchamos, viva la huelga de fin. Viva la Virgen de Guadalupe, viva nuestra unión. Viva la causa por cual luchamos, viva la huelga de fin. Viva la Virgen de Guadalupe, viva nuestra unión. ¡Viva la huelga! It was quite an experience to see farm workers fighting for their rights. You know, it was hard to get farm workers to come out of the fields. And in the process of all this energy that was taking place in Delano, we started our own theater company, El Teatro Campesino, which we're celebrating 50 years this year, 50 years of actually surviving. On the 26th of September, the union is celebrating 50 years of the strike. And they're bringing together all the original people who were originally involved in the strike in Delano. The amazing thing for me, I was 17 years old. I mean, I had a beautiful haircut, you know? I had big boots. And I looked really strange amongst all these farm workers. They saw me and said out there and said, "This is Luis Valdez's brother, Daniel, right?" And I felt kind of strange. It was an exposure to me that left my heart filled with so much energy. I've never been around so many Mexicans in all my life. I mean, it was an amazing feeling. It was a feeling of family. And the thing that got me the most were the kids, the children. You know, one thing people don't talk about is that the union outlawed and created a movement that changed the labor laws in the country. It used to be that kids could work in the field, little kids. I mean, I started picking by the time I was 3 years old. You know, and I picked until I was 13 years old. You know, and I remember my father used to tell me, "I got a chile, you know, un daño su daño, you know." And I had a little lard can, I would start lard can, you know, and I would pick stuff and put it in. But it was the act of changing the labor laws that made the difference. It's really about the kids. We were fighting for rights. We were fighting for decent wages. We were fighting for decent living conditions. We're asking farm workers to go out on strike. But the kids are the ones who took most of the blow. I mean, for some of you who've ever grown up in a farm-working family and worked in the fields, I mean, there was always a competition between families, you know. The more pickers there were, the better they were. Right? I remember families of 16, 18 members of the family, right? They'd go into a field, and literally the crop was gone, you know. While I was in Delano, I met these two young Chicanos who had written a poem, and it inspired me. And then I heard them perform. And I love their piece, and I love their poetry and their song. Up to California, from Mexico you come, to the Sacramento Valley, to toil in the sun. Your wife and 7 children, they're working everyone. And what will you be given to your brown-eyed children of the sun? Your faces lined and wrinkled, and your age is 41. Your back is bent from peeking, like your dying time has come. Your children's eyes smiling, their lives have just begun. And what will you be given to your brown-eyed children of the sun? You march on Easter Sunday, to the Capitol you come. You fought for union wages, and your fight had just begun. You're a proud man, you're a free man, and this heritage is one that you can be given to your brown-eyed children of the sun. The kids were the most important thing, you know. And since I used to say, we're going on scratch, our kids don't have to live the way we live. The conditions that we lived in. I mean, there were no bathrooms in the fields. We lived in labor camps, which the government would take it out of your check. You know, you give you a ride to work every morning, you take it out of your check. So by the time you got your check, there was nothing left. You know, so the children were the ones who bore a lot of that pain. You know, and we used to talk a lot to the farm workers about los hijos. That was the other thing, going to Delano, back to Delano, at the age of 17, I couldn't speak a word of Spanish anymore. When I went to school, when I started school, I couldn't speak English at all. By the time I got out of high school, I couldn't speak Spanish. It was gone, literally gone. And so going to Delano for me was really a re-identification with myself and who I was. Going out to those picket lines and yelling to those, "Oye, compañero, véngase para acá!" And they turn around and say, "¿Qué quieres?" And I go, no sapo inglés. But it was the children who were the most important thing about the union. We wrote a song about those kids in the farm working fields, Delano in California. And it was always about getting up in the morning. Did you get up at 5, 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, and go to work? You know, I remember the tacos we used to have at lunch. They were all greasy, full of chorizo, papas. It was an experience like you couldn't believe. For the longest time, I didn't know I was poor. You know, we actually lived in an army tent in an actual orchard. And I remember I went to school that year, and I think it was in the 3rd grade. And he said, "What did you do for summer?" And everybody said, "Oh, we went camping, we went to Yosemite, and we went this place." And they got to me and said, "What did you do?" I said, "We went camping." I mean, for the longest time, I thought we were related to Abraham Lincoln because we had a pool in the middle of our living room, you know? And I remember the floor, my mother used to clean it so much, it literally glistened. It was made of dirt. But she scrubbed it and cleaned it so much, it looked like mahogany, you know? So it was to them that we wrote the song. And we said, as they say in the morning, "Levántate, cabrón." Como a las 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 de la mañana, el sol calienta ranchos anchos y de luz todo lo baña. A estos campos van los niños campesinos, sin vecinos, son peregrinos de verdad. Van de camino los veranos, inviernos y primaveras, cruzando estados y condados, ciudades extranjeras, como las golondrinas volando por los cielos, dándose vuelo, paralelos de verdad. Van a los chiles de la uva, carne y de manzana, y ahí los niños se la pasan todo el día entre la rama, del sol a sol hasta que llegan pagadores, dándole flores, para valores de verdad. ¡Levántate! ¡Oh, pa! Como a las 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 de la mañana. No quiero, levántate, cabrón. El sol calienta ranchos anchos y de luz todo lo baña. A esos campos a los niños campesinos, sin vecinos, son peregrinos de verdad. Pero algún día esos niños serán hombres y mujeres, trabajadores campesinos que defienden sus quereres. Y en Maranano tomarán otro camino, con vecinos, son peregrinos de verdad. Como a las 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 de la mañana. Ay, papi, no quiero. ¡Levántate! El sol calienta ranchos anchos de luz todo lo baña. A esos campos solo en los esquiroles. Viva la huelga, viva la casa de verdad. In the fields, you know, I mean, it was a very interesting experience, you know, so Cesar Chavez really changed our life. He changed the way we lived, the way we saw ourselves. He gives us back our dignity and a sense of who we were. And so, as I grew older, and my wife and I started having kids, you know, we had our firstborn. I had 3 kids, and we had our first son. Our first son, I was so delighted. I was off my feet, walking on air. So, when she got pregnant the second time, I prayed to God. I said, I really want a daughter really bad. And in those days, we didn't have ultrasound. What we had was a needle. We had a needle that you stick in front of the belly button of the woman, and if it moved in a certain direction, it told you whether it was a man or a woman, right? So we put it up to her stomach. It's going to be a girl, said it do. So we went to the doctor and said, we're going to have a girl. I said, I don't think so. He says, I think we're going to have a boy. I said, no, that's impossible. You know, we checked it with a needle. He said, well, I understand you're using all these old methods, but we don't do that kind of thing anymore. Yeah? And for what I know, from experience, you're going to have a girl, you're going to have a boy. I said, oh, come on. He said, well, you know, I'll take it up with God, he said. So that's what I did. God, I said, I really want a girl, I really mad. Quiero una hija. And God said, okay, you want a girl? Write a song. I said, what? He said, write a song. So I sat down one afternoon and I wrote a song about her name. The due date came, we went to the hospital. It was a hell of a delivery, 24 hours around the clock. We're waiting, I'm in the delivery room, waiting for the baby to come out. You know, and the doctors say, look, don't hold your hope. You get your hopes up too high, it's gonna be a boy. And we're standing there, pop! It's a girl! I called her Violeta. Now the way of winter's gone. Once again I see the sun, and the birds come out to sing, to tell the world she's home again. Please, beauty makes man stop and stare, gaze at loveliness so rare. It fills me with tranquility, oh, and love for all humanity. Please, as she sings a song that turns the leaves into a brown. For some is here, she can't stay. Well, that's life's law, and that's God's way. This next song is really an interesting piece. It's called Better Day Will Come, Un Mejor Día Vendrá. It's written by James Taylor originally. I got the honor of actually writing the Spanish lyrics for it. There was a play on Broadway called Working by Studs Terkel. And it was about workers. It was all about different kinds of workers, steel workers, textile workers. And there was a sequence in the actual play about farm workers. So I was asked to record the song, and it was part of the show and part of the video. But the amazing thing was that James, who I've been a fan of all my life, I got an opportunity to meet him and talk with him and actually work on one of his songs. And so it was quite an experience to actually take a collaboration with James Taylor and actually work a song into Spanish. The song is called Un Mejor Día Vendrá. Ay, la, 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 la. Ay, la, 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 la. La, 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 la. Cuando amanezca la tarde, vuelvo cansado a mi hogar. Y pensando en el futuro, olvido el dolor y pesar. ¿Dónde se ha ido mi vida? ¿Dónde se ha ido mi juventud? Perdidas en las palabras que el viento me trae, un día mejor vendrá. Un mejor día vendrá. Un mejor día vendrá. Cuando Dios a los pobres su lugar dará. Cuando amanezca la tarde, vuelvo cansado a mi hogar. Y pensando en el futuro, olvido el dolor y pesar. ¿Dónde se ha ido mi vida? ¿Dónde se ha ido mi juventud? Perdidas en las palabras que el viento me trae, un día mejor vendrá. Un mejor día vendrá. Un mejor día vendrá. Cuando Dios a los pobres su lugar dará. You know, I had a tremendous opportunity, tremendous, really chance to work with some incredible artists, you know, and one of the artists that I got an opportunity to actually not only work and perform with, but also do an album, was Linda Ronstadt. And I was telling Tony, as I grew up as a fan of Linda Ronstadt. I grew up with all her music. I was always a great fan. And so when we got a chance to meet each other, we hit it off. And it turned out, many years later, I found this out later, that Linda Ronstadt's family and my family were kind of linked together. My great-great-grandfather worked for her great-grandfather years and years and years ago. And my uncle, Lalo Guerrero, actually was Linda Ronstadt's godfather. So when we got together, and it was because her father was very insistent that she get together with me and do something. So we had a chance to do something. I met Linda actually in a kitchen. I was running from photographers. It was the premiere of Zuzu. And I ran into these kitchens and people were chasing me. And Linda was in there. And she said, "What are you doing here?" Right? So we met for the first time then. So we became very good friends. And it took a few years before we had a chance to work together, but we finally did. We recorded this next song. Sobre lo muy como una rueda de cobre. De diario me estás mirando, del diario nos miras pobre, nos miras con el arado, luego con la rociadera. Una vez en la llanura y otra vez en la ladera. Sol que fue tan parejo para repartir tu luz. Habías de enseñarle al amor a ser lo mismo que tú. Esta vida de los pobres es una vida ingrata, donde el rico tiene todo y el pobre no tiene nada. Solo que tú eres tan parejo para repartir tu luz. Habías de enseñarle al amor a ser lo mismo que And you know, I learned that song from a farmer, Bertolino. He was the one who taught me. You know, those days in Atlanta were really incredible. Now, one of the things that we had to deal with was the picket sign, right? What do you say picket sign in Spanish, right? What is the direct translation of picket sign, right? Una arma de guardia, I mean, what do you call it, right? So we were dealing with farmer, we wanted to keep it, so we kept it very simple. We called it el picket sign. Desde Texas a California, campesinos están luchando. Desde Texas a California, campesinos están luchando. Los rancheros a llore y llore, de vuelta están mentando. El picket sign, el picket sign. Lo llevo por todo el día, el picket sign, el picket sign. Conmigo toda la vida. Un primo que tengo yo andaba regando biches. Un primo que tengo yo andaba regando biches. Un día con pajaruno y otro con sanagabiche. El picket sign, el picket sign. Lo llevo por todo el día, el picket sign, el picket sign. Conmigo toda la vida. Me dicen que soy muy necio, gritón y alborota pueblos. Me dicen que soy muy necio, gritón y alborota pueblos. Pero Juárez fue mi tío y Zapata fue mi suegro. El picket sign, el picket sign. Lo llevo por todo el día, el picket sign, el picket sign. Conmigo toda la vida. Hay muchos que no comprenden, aunque uno les da consejos. Hay muchos que no comprenden, aunque uno les da consejos. La huelga es un bien para todos, pero no se hacen pendejos. Picket sign, el picket sign. Lo llevo por todo el día, el picket sign, el picket sign. Conmigo toda la vida, el picket sign, el picket sign. Lo llevo por todo el día, el picket sign, el picket sign. Conmigo toda la vida. marchales, campo de nuestra unidad. Con un dedo no haces nada, tú ni puedes trabajar, ni con dedos separados, si la mano abierta está. Pero si los dedos unen, la mano vas a cerrar. La unión es como esa mano, con fuerza para luchar. Nuestra unión hace la fuerza, nuestra fuerza hace la unión. Es nuestro pueblo marchando hacia la liberación. Con la unión se mata el miedo, hay valor en la hermandad, pero hay que matar primero el miedo de la unidad. Es una gota de agua y solo te hace secar, pero el pueblo es como un río, como la lluvia y el mar. Es el río creciendo y todo se va a llevar. Es el conquistador oyendo la agua de la libertad. Nuestra unión hace la fuerza, nuestra fuerza hace la unión. Es nuestro pueblo marchando hacia la liberación. From the farm our experience, we laid the foundation for who we were as a theater company and who we were as people. You know, we never thought of ourselves as actors. We thought of ourselves as activists. Right? So we realized that a combination of both things, our act was to go out and protest. So we became activists, right? And so in the process of evolving our theater company, we moved into new themes. We want to talk about urban reality. We talk about pachucos. We want to talk about the street figures. We want to talk about the Chicano who called themselves the Chicano. Who was he? Years later, we all culminate in a motion picture that we finally did called Zoot. And I'd like to do a poem for you. It was written by a very famous poet who passed recently, been dead for a couple of years now, who wrote about the experiences of pachucos. It's called El Louis. Yo soy el muchacho alegre que me amanezco cantando con mi botella de vino. Y los muchachos tocando. Hoy enterraron a Louis en San Pedro, en San Pinche, and those times in the 40s and early 50s had lost un vato de apoyo. Voy a contarles un corrido muy chateado, lo que ha pasado allá en el barrio de La Flor, la triste historia de un pachuco enamorado, que fue borracho y paradero y jugador. Kind of spin the drum there towards the end, aging too fast and too much booze y la vida dura. But close to the end, in San Luis, where his black top coat, playing his fancy role Bogart, happy to rock. Every Fowler double, the Brandon Candy, won't you? The West Side Moon, even Selma, Gilroy, 48 Fleet Line, Two-Tone, Buenas Garras, and always Lucas por la Ellen y la Mary. Y siempre con las bien afinadas cantando la palma, la que andaban en floreo. En el mar está una palma con las ramas hasta el suelo, donde se van a llorar los que no encuentran consuelo, pobrecita de la palma. You know, Louis had the idea for catering grapes in those days, and the idea was unique. Porque Fowler no era nada como los Leroy P.T. Fresno's West Side was as close as we ever got to the big time. But we had Louis el Panamá, el boogie, los mambos y los 4 suspiros del alma. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pero nunca faltaba el Twitter punching y well up typing. Lucha y Luis me lo pedo. Un día domingo que se andaba emborrachando. A la cantina me corrieron a avisar. Cuídate, Luis, que por ahí te andan buscando. Son muchos ratos los que van a filería. Ay, la, no llores, Carmen, you can take them. Y Luis, me arriba, va a haber chingazos en la parking lot, güey, con la jura. Traes video, Simón, chale, este vato. Louis would always come through like melodramatic music, just like in the mono. Cruzando el charro negro, smile openly in his bicep. He does rolls, man. And names like Blackie, Little Louis. Ese Louis! Charlie, man. Just call me Diamonds. Me voy de soldado raso, voy a ingresar a la hospitalaria. Por los valientes muchachos que dejan madres queridas, que dejan novias llorando, llorando su despedida. Korea fue el soldado de Levita con huevos, with all the paradoxes of el soldado raso, heroism and the stockade. And on leave, John puts China's ribbons coffee from the war, strutting the early mass on Sunday morning. Wow, is that old Louis? Ay, mira, comadre, abanico de Lola. Creí que tu vida mía y que tú me querías como yo te quiero a ti. Afterwards, he and Fat Richard would hawk their bronze stars for Pisto and Benjamín Canales en el Trocadero. At Barbara College, he came through con honores después que meñara su pelado de la peluca para jugar póker cerrada y lobo en Santo de Aviso. And legs will be down, head on some lean times. Hoy enterraron a Louis. Canté la pusieron de mi anhelo, gozo de mi cielo y alegría en mi vivir. Y ahora, a Mrs. Cooper, los baby chooks se acuerdan de Louis, el carnal del candy y el ponche, la vez que lo fielearon allá en la casa Dome, y otra vez que se cayó con la chiva. Hoy enterraron a Louis. His death was an insult, porque no murió en acción. No lo mataron los vatos, ni los chinos en Corea. He died alone, in a rented room, perhaps like in a Bogart movie. The end was a cruel hoax, an overdose. But his life had been remarkable. Un vato que apoye el Louis Rodríguez. Yo soy el muchacho alegre que me amanezco cantando por mi botella de vino. Y los mariachis tocando. You know, in 1978, we got a pamphlet in the mail from a group, actually from a guy who had been involved with it. It was called the Sleepy Lagoon murder case. And it was a pamphlet not so wide. And it was the story of the Sleepy Lagoon murder case that happened in 1942, in which 22 Chicanos were indicted for one murder. And it was really a war on a new identity. Because for the first time, at least in Chicano history, in Mexican history, a whole generation was calling themselves something else. They weren't calling themselves Mexican Americans. They were calling themselves Chicanos. This is the era of the Pachuco. Who is the Pachuco? He is the firstborn of a lot of those Mexican families who came over from Mexico, who were born here in the United States, who didn't identify necessarily with Mexico. They identified with the United States, and they called themselves Pachucos, Chicanos. Well, it was part of a craze that was crossing the country. Big bands were happening, you know, we had Glenn Miller, we had all kinds of music was exploding in the country. There was an identity crisis actually taking place in the country. We're in the middle of a war with Japan. It's tremendous, ironic things that were happening. There was a race thing that was taking place. You know, Japanese families were being interned and taken to the internment camps. And Chicanos were in the middle of all this. And all around the country, the whole generation of young people decided to put on a zoot suit and really become hip, become Bonnaroo. And they identified with Glenn Miller and all those big band leaders who led a whole generation in a whole different part. There was a guy named Cap Calloway who wore the first zoot suit. And he wore, and his background was dressed in white. That left an imprint. And for Chicanos, it was absolutely unbelievable. So the whole zoot suit era began. And in that process, the story of Sleepy Lagoon took place. I'd like to do a number now from that way. Marijuana, oh baby. Marijuana, oh baby. Marijuana, that's my baby name. What on your face is the bottle? Make those cargos shine. What on your face is the bottle? Make those cargos shine. They're holding roll on the corner, and marijuana boogie down. Marijuana boogie. Marijuana boogie. Marijuana, that's my baby name. I wanna make Juana, oh Juana. But all the men she's made love to, they call her marijuana. Marijuana, that's my baby name. Yeah. They actually asked me if they could use that song as their theme piece, right? Of course I said yes. Ya los tiempos han cambiado, usted está muy afectado, desde un día atravesado, antes de bailar el swing, tuvo un DJ rock, pero eso me torció y esto es lo que sucedió. Los chicos cuando bailan rumba, van a la rumba y de zumba, van a guarachas a los dos, botecito de calzón, los chicos suaves bailan la rumba y le suman, bailan borracha sabrosón, el botecito de calzón, la pa 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 la pa la, y la pa 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 la, y pa 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 la pa pa, y la pa pa pa. Anda con que abusado, ya los tiempos han cambiado, usted está muy agüitado, este buggy atravesado, antes de bailar el swing, boogie jitterbug, pero eso ya torció, y esto es lo que sucedió. Los chicos suaves bailan la rumba y le zumba, bailan borrachas sabrosón, botecito y el calzón. Los chicos suaves bailan la rumba y le zumba, bailan borrachas sabrosón, botecito y el calzón. Ya los tiempos han cambiado, usted está muy agüitado, desde buggy atravesado, antes se bailaba el swing, boogie jitterbug, pero eso ya torció, y esto es lo que sucedió. Chicos suaves bailan la rumba y le zumba, bailan borrachas sabrosón, el botecito y el calzón. Los chicos suaves bailan la rumba y le zumba, bailan borrachas sabrosón, el botecito y el calzón. Was written by a Cuban composer named Silvio Rodriguez, and during the 70s and 80s, he recorded some incredible music. And you know, it's making contact with international folk singers and writers really opened my eyes to the kind of music that was happening all around the world. But I fell in love with one of these songs I'd like to do for you now. It's called El Rey de las Flores. El rey de las flores lo conocí por la tarde. Hace un tiempo me llamó la atención su tono de arco iris en la piel, su corona de papel. El rey de las flores tiene sus fábricas dentro de la tierra, 2 pulgadas detrás del sol, cada inquilino en una flor, en cada piso está el amor. El rey de las flores tiene lagartos que cantan de salto en salto, tiene batallones y abejas chiquitas y arañas famosas y aves bonitas. El rey de las flores lo conocí por la tarde. Hace un tiempo me llamó la atención su tono y arco iris en la piel, su corona de papel. El rey de las flores tiene lagartos que cantan de salto en salto, tiene batallones y abejas chiquitas y arañas famosas y aves bonitas. Sobre los floridos campos se regan las flores, veo a mi hijo y llamándola y una voz quedó partido en 2 mitades por una bomba que cayó. Sobre los floridos campos el rey de las flores, veo a mi hijo y llamándola y una voz quedó partido en 2 mitades por una bomba que cayó. movement was a big, big change in all of our lives. Discovering not only who we were, the struggles that we were faced with. You know, I don't have to tell you the history of what happened here in Denver when the Chicano movement broke out. You know, there was so much violence in the street, so much resistance to the changes that were taking place. You know, I actually came to Denver for the first time in 1967. I was 17 years old. We were on the way to New York, and we stopped. It was our first stop. I'd never been out of California before, and our first stop was here in Denver. And I met a man who later not only would influence my whole life, but became part of my family in every respect of the word. His name was Corky Gonzalez. Corky Gonzalez. The most incredible man I've ever met. And the one thing he used to tell me is you can't give up. You have to hope. You have to nourish that hope and keep it alive. That's the only thing we've got, is hope. So when I wrote my first album, and one of the first things that came to me was I wanted to do a tribute to that struggle. So I wrote the song, which was on my first album, called Broken Hopes. Many times in life it seems that happiness is just a dream that leads nowhere but disappears in despair. Though we see our hopes broken, we must go on and endure the time to come for our struggle to be won. So we wait throughout the year, listening to our children's tears, tears of pain that make us wise and bring strength to our lives. Though we see our hopes broken, we must not fear and believe we have that prayer that God in our hearts can hear. When at last, when we can see happiness can really be, it will come for all mankind when happiness fills our lives. Though we see our hopes broken, we must go on and endure the time to come for our struggle to be won, for our struggle to be won, for our struggle to be won. Is far from vanished. The flesh is ready to be torn from the skeleton of a mankind beaten up. But the angel lives on in agony. And suddenly there's a warmth, and broadness, wideness, deep as this continent. And all of America becomes our home, our birthright, our soul. Some of the earthquake is dying. mountains of nations, screaming volcanoes of tears. Ancient America rising, end of her prophecy near. Bam bam bam, dum dum bam bam, da dum dum bam, da dum bam bam, da surcando el cielo y América, sangre de viento avanzando, forma de fuego en la noche, endurecía ahí. Canto de llanto del indio, voces del tambor tocando, flautas que hablan con Dios, me dicen así. Sangre, fusil y la tierra, gritando revolución. Flautas que hablan con Dios, me dicen así. Manos de bronce en la tierra, jóvenes van sembrando, esperanzas de los pobres nacen aquí. Corazón amortajado, caras de piedra se ven, niños llenos de tormenta han de nacer. Sangre, fusil y la tierra, gritando revolución.